And this is not like, oh, be in love and light and everything is beautiful all the time. No, that is not true. We need to feel the heavy shit. We need to be okay with our shadows and those heavy things as well. But it's that thing of like being in it, transmuting it, and alchemizing it into light. Welcome to Just Being Me. This is your sanctuary for all things real, magical, and unapologetically you. Here, we weave together the threads of balanced living, self love, and creative expression. Because stepping into who you're meant to be is equal parts exhilarating and messy, and it's all part of the plot. I am your host, Emma Garter, and I'm a self expression coach and creatrix. Each week, we'll dive into heart centered conversations, playful explorations, and a little bit of everyday enchantment. Whether you're figuring out life's big questions, manifesting your dream reality, or simply learning to know, trust, and love yourself, this is your space to create a life that feels so desirable that you would never want to escape it. So, let's skip the small talk and dive into the deep end. Your story starts here, and the pen is in your hand. Now, let's get into the episode. Hello, incredible soul, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, I just want to say welcome, and I embrace you with the biggest hug and the most love ever. And if you're a recurring listener, I see you, girl. I see you. And I'm so grateful that you keep coming back and that you're here on this journey with me. So, in today's episode, we are talking about getting unstuck, how to move and move forward, and what is actually maybe possibly holding you back from changing your life, from going after the things that you know you're meant to do, but there's just like so much resistance around it, and it feels almost unattainable. It feels like, oh my god, it's so far in the future and I just can never get to that point. You know, it's so easy for us to feel like this is the reality and it's always going to be like this. And it's not. As long as you consciously move forward, as long as you actually take the action steps to create that dream life of yours. Because I think with manifestation, for example, there are so many things that talk about, and this is just like the shadow side of manifestation. I love manifestation, but there are so many things that talk about like you just have to visualize, you just have to imagine that you're already there. And I love that and it's great, but we gotta actually take the steps to get there and to actually do the thing. But yeah, so I have an extensive list of things that I want to share with you today. And I'm going to be real. I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to call myself out because I also do these things. Sometimes, we're all humans, but it's so important to have compassion for ourselves. And this is like my number one thing that I love to talk about and remind people of, because it's so easy to look at what we're not doing and shame ourselves for that. But that is not helping us either. So, as I'm saying these things, be radically honest with yourself and be like, okay, yeah, this is me. This is actually me. And if you feel triggered by something, there's probably something there in your subconscious that you should probably have a look at. But also be like, okay, I have done this and this has been a coping mechanism my whole life or maybe like a few years, and that's okay. I can't do shit about it. So let's just have compassion for ourselves and move on, move forward. Look at it and just be like, okay, but I get to make a choice. I get to move towards my dream life. And from now on, I'm actually going to do that. So the first thing, I want to talk about like what is holding you back and why your life is not changing. And then I also want to talk about what you can do to get unstuck, to actually move forward. So, the first, I have 7 things that I want to talk about when it comes to why your life is not changing. And the first thing I want to talk about, and this is like one of the things that have been really prominent for me in my life, and I've had to look at myself and just be like, okay, this is actually your reality. Also, if you hear like kids screaming, I live right next to a kindergarten, so yeah, if you hear like kids crying or whatever, that's what that is. I haven't just like given birth to 10,000 kids. Uh, okay, so number uno, you are addicted to the struggle. You are addicted to feeling horrible. And I know this sounds like counterintuitive. It was like, I don't want to feel horrible. I don't want to feel bad. But sometimes it is really so much easier to be in the constant loop of struggle than to move on and to actually be happy, because there are so many things, quote unquote things, that comes with being happy. And if we've modeled a life of struggle when we were kids, when we grew up, we just saw people being miserable, it makes sense that we are so in this rut of living a life of struggle. And it sounds weird, but it's like our brain is not wired to excel, to like always be happy. It's wired to be in the comfort. And the ego wants to keep you safe. And if you change, that is your ego not feeling safe. It literally feels like change. Okay, things will not look the same that it is right now. And and I'm in danger then. Cuz it's the unknown. We don't actually know what is on the other side of not feeling that struggle. So, it can be that you're just too comfortable in the pain, that you're too like, you know how addiction work, we're not actually aware of it. We're not actually like, well, most people, if you're not actually doing something about it. But for me, for example, taking alcohol, I didn't understand that that was an addiction. I didn't understand that, I kept going back into the same shitty ass patterns over and over again, blacking out every time I drank. And I didn't actually see until I hit a wall a year ago that, like, okay, something needs to change, because this is just not like I'm in the same horrible loop all over and over again, and nothing is actually changing. So you might just be addicted to the pain, to the hurt, to the things that have been familiar for you your whole life. And it's time to change that, honey. It's time to move on. It's time to do something different. And that's why you're here today, because we are going to talk about how you can actually do that. Number two is you're making too many excuses. And this one is a real one because, like I talked about, that like changing is hard, and changing is putting your ego in a very vulnerable position. And it's easier to be like, oh, but it's Sunday, it's Saturday, I'll have that drink, I'll eat that bag of candy, it's fine, I'll start working out on Monday. But if you're acting this way, if you're constantly putting it off, if you're constantly being like, oh, you know making a business is it's a lot of work, and I don't know if I have time for that. I don't know if I actually, have the capacity or the knowledge, maybe I have to take 10 more courses in order to actually be worthy enough to have clients. Is anything triggering you? Is anything being like, oh, god damn, I make so many excuses? And it's not weird. It's literally not weird because we try to logistically figure a way out of the discomfort, and our ego is like, oh, we are going to use that as an excuse and that thing too, and just like not do it because we don't actually feel like we're worthy of it. And you already know what to do, and that's, I think, the most painful part, is that you know what to do. You know that going after your dreams is what is actually going to create the life that is for you and not made by everyone else around you. But it feels so big to take on. It feels so like scary, and you don't believe that it's possible. And that is the next thing I want to talk about, is that you don't believe that you can actually achieve these things. You don't believe that you are a healthy person. You don't believe and you don't have the identity as a business owner. You don't actually see yourself and truly believe that you can become this person, this version of yourself. And your subconscious, all the things that have made you the person that you are today, all the habits, all the beliefs from your past is stored in your subconscious. And it's 95% of our behaviors. So our conscious, the things that we really want to do, like I want to start a business. Okay, that is 5%. But you have maybe like 10 or 15 beliefs stacking on top of each other saying that I can't be a coach. I can't be a business owner because it's too scary. It's too dangerous. I'm going to lose everything. People will hate me. I will be bankrupt. And all these things, all these beliefs that have been anchored into your mind from you were a kid. Like, take me with my business, for example. My dad, he had his own business. He had his own consulting business. And he didn't like make it. He didn't actually, he ended up shutting it down and not succeeding in it. And that has been with me since I was a kid, being like, having your own business is hard, and it's a lot easier to actually be a 9 to 5 person because you're secure. And my mom too, like having that belief of like, it's so unpredictable if you're a business owner and you're just going to lose everything, and all these things has hindered me in actually believing that I am a successful business owner. And I'm working on it. I am on rewiring a lot of subconscious beliefs, because if you don't, you're going to hit the same wall over and over and over and over again until you actually look at what is holding you back from actually believing that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve. Number 4, you are afraid of what will happen when you actually change. And this is a big one. This is also, I feel like a lot of these are just subconscious beliefs. But when you think about succeeding in something, when you think about becoming healthy, what comes up for you when you actually get there? Do you feel like you will lose your friends that you hang out with because you only have friends that you go out drinking with, and your healthy version of you does not drink every weekend and stay up until 5 and feel hungover the next day and maybe skip workouts because you feel shitty already? Does your business version of you feel scared of how people will treat you when you are successful? Will people take advantage of you? Will, I don't know, like the thing that I said about being going bankrupt, going bankrupt. Are you afraid that once you have the money, you'll lose the money? Like, what are you afraid of will happen when you actually do change? Because this is a big thing. A lot of people talk about like the fear of not making it. But what is the fear of actually making it? Because you will be happy, and like I talked about, like our subconscious like to be safe in that like suffering mode most of the time. Are you afraid of being truly happy? Are you afraid of actually succeeding in life? And maybe, I know for this is a big one of mine, like people around me won't feel needed because I got myself. So what are you afraid of will happen if you actually achieve the things that you want to achieve? Number 5, and this is a big one. You hang around the wrong people. And they say that you are a compilation and you become a version of yourselves based on the 5 people you hang around the most. So if you hang around people, like take the workout example, for example. If your 5 closest friends are, like say your roommate and your 4 closest friends, they all go out drinking every weekend. They love having like candy multiple times a week. They eat like pizza maybe 2 times a week. I was gonna say day. Like they don't have the habits that are sustaining a healthy lifestyle. It's gonna be so much harder for you to actually create that lifestyle for yourself. And I'm not saying that you need to get rid of all your friends because they're not aligned with your goals. I'm definitely not saying that, but maybe find other people and be around other people, other environments that actually are in alignment with your goals. Take the spiritual community, for example. If you have 0 friends who are into spirituality, how are you going to deepen your spiritual practice if you don't have anyone to talk about it with? Like, how are you actually going to grow in that area if you don't have anyone else holding you accountable and cheering you on and knowing what you're going through? Because it can be so lonely on a journey of growth. It can be feel so like empty if you don't surround yourself with people who get it. And finding people, like if you're growing your business, finding people who are also growing their businesses, and you will get tips, you will be able to talk about the hardship, the beauty, and you will be celebrated for your achievements. Because if you're growing your business and you are hitting these milestones in your business and you share with your friends or even like say your parents, and they're like, what are you talking about? I don't get it. Like, but what if you fail? What if it doesn't work? What if it's constantly in the negative? You're gonna not feel motivated enough, and it's gonna pull you down. So being able to be around the right people is gonna massively change your life. Number 6 is you're not actually clear on where you're headed. What are your goals? What do you want to achieve? What is your mission? What is your clear path? It's not even clear path. What is your North Star? What is it that you are moving towards? And I want to just make a disclaimer, like you don't have to know exactly where you're going to end up because it's not even possible. You cannot control the outcome. I want to talk about that later, but you have to have some sort of destination. Because if you don't have anywhere to move towards, you're gonna be moving in zigzag and around and maybe up and down, and it's not gonna actually be moving you forward. Take, for example, if you're driving somewhere, you have to know where you're driving. Otherwise, you're just going to drive around and maybe it's a lovely scenic route and maybe you're going to see cute things, but it's not actually going to get you anywhere. You're not actually going to get you to the thing that you want to achieve. So, having some sort of North Star, I like to say North Star because it's more of a broader, like, or it can even be like your purpose. What are you trying to achieve in this life? But having that, and that will change when you change, that will change too. But then at least you're moving somewhere. You're not just staying stuck, you're actually moving towards some place. And then you can shift course and then you can be like, oh, but maybe I don't want to go to the mountains. Maybe I want to go to the sea instead, but still nature, it's still in the same bracket. But you're moving and you're actually gaining momentum. And through that, you're going to start realizing things and you're going to start meeting the right people and you're going to start evolving into the person that you came here to be. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about that is keeping you stuck is you're controlling too much and you're being too focused on how you will get there and when you will get there. And this one is major because if you have put that end thing on your GPS, like where you want to go, and then you are trying to maneuver and find the streets instead of actually following the signs, following the path that is being laid out in front of you step by step, we can't know where we're going to go. We can't actually know what is going to happen in a year. Like, how could we? And the more we're open to the surprises, the more we are open to surrendering, to seeing what is going to be laid out in front of us, the more magic we're going to encounter. And I'm totally fine if you want to control and if you want to like organize your business for let's take the business example again. If you want to organize your business every week for this next year, for this next 2 years, for the next 5 years, you know what you're gonna do. That's fine with me, but you're not gonna be surprised. You're not gonna find the golden nuggets. You're not gonna see the magic that the world is creating for you. And I fully believe that when you surrender and when you trust that the universe has your back, because our life is a co creation, we're not actually creating our life by ourselves. And the more you learn to listen, the more you the more you tune in and tap in to the wisdom that is around us, oof, the more bliss, the more beauty, the more incredible connections you're gonna meet. And it's gonna transform your life, like truly. And if I had known where I would end up, like I could have never imagined that I would be here living with my boyfriend, doing my business. I have a podcast, I host events, I do one-on-one coaching. Like I was so certain that I was going to become a fashion designer. And if I hadn't listened to my inner voice, if I hadn't listened to my truth, I would have never ended up here. So, what can you do? What can you do to actually get unstuck? And I have 5 different things that I want to share with you today. There are definitely more, but this is just like a little list of what came through me when I was creating this episode. So, First of all, figure out what your North Star is. Get clear on where you're headed. What is your why? Why are you creating the things that you want to create? Where are you going? And then figure out what is holding you back. Figure out, I keep touching the back of my head, but I feel like this is my subconscious. um Figure out the things, the beliefs, the patterns, the habits. Become so fucking aware of who you are and the things that you do that is sabotaging you from actually getting to where you want to be. And work with that. Unravel them, feel the feelings, really dig up all the dirt. And this is a process, and it's not going to be like, I got it and I figured it out and now I'm free forever. It's not going to be like that. It's an ongoing process, but the more you start chipping away on the beliefs and rewiring them to believe that you're actually capable of achieving your dream, the more things are going to start rolling. Number 3 is to take small action steps. Take the journey step by step. Move. Just like knowing where you're headed next. What is that next step that you get to take in order to get to where you want to go? And this doesn't have to be major, and most likely it's not major because it's the small steps that we take that accumulate. Oh, that rhymed. I love that. And actually make a difference. Like if you shift your reality, if you shift your actions with 1%, that is going to keep going up. But if you end up like shifting 90 degrees and then you start going and it's too big of a gap, you're just going to end back again. And it's probably you're going to be mad at yourself. There's going to be a lot of shame involved. Like if we take the huge leaps, and sometimes we gotta take the huge leaps. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but it's the small things that you do, the habits that you accumulate, the person that you end up talking to that might change everything for you. And being able to take these small steps is going to actually make you see the changes in your life. And one of the ways you can start taking these small steps, because they're aligned action, they're not just taking action to take action, it's inspired and aligned action. And that is number 4, listen to your intuition, listen to your inner wisdom, listen to what your higher self is telling you to do, because your higher self is already living that dream reality. Your higher self knows the steps that you are meant to take. And I love tuning into that energy of being like, what would my higher self do? And then sit and listen. And your intuition is going to start talking to you. Your intuition is going to give you a sign. You're going to see synchronicities around you. You are going to start feeling a nudge and start feeling into like what feels like a yes to you and what feels like a no. And I want to tap into this right now. Okay, so you can close your eyes if you're not driving, or if you're, doing something where you can close your eyes. Just close your eyes for a second. It's going to be really, really, really quick. And I invite you to just take a deep breath in through your nose, then out through your mouth. And I invite you to think of something that excites you. Think of something in your life that you already have, or maybe it's a beautiful sunset, or cuddling a warm, fuzzy puppy. Think of something that just automatically gives you that like yes energy. How does that feel for you? How does that feel in your body? Does it feel like a warm hug? Does it feel like this open expansion, like your heart is opening? Do you feel a warmth within you? What does that feel like? That is your yes. That is your body telling you, like, yes, this is a go. And then I invite you to feel and to think about something that you really do not like. Maybe it's someone stepping over a boundary. Maybe it's something horrible happening. Whatever it is that just feels like, oh, this is no, not at all. Feel into that. What does that feel like for you? Where in your body do you feel it? Does it feel like a stormy cloud inside you? Does it feel rigid? Do you feel stiff, like your body's tightening? That's your no. So, whenever you're ready, you can just open your eyes and maybe shake it out. Get that like stuck energy because we don't want that with us throughout the day. That is your yes and no. That is how you can start feeling into your body. And the more you start tuning into your truth, the more your intuition is going to speak to you, and you won't have to, go within like we did right now and feel into the things. But that's how I've started actually being like, is this for me or is this not for me? Starting to just listen to what the body has to say. You can ask your womb, you can ask your heart, and it's all going to come to you. So focus on even like getting into creativity, getting into that flow state, getting into a space where your mind is not as activated, because your mind is the analytical brain and your heart and your gut, like that is your intuitive knowing. So you can, if you want, you can join the challenge that I'm hosting. I am hosting a creative challenge, which is called The Art of Creative Expression, where we're going to dive deep into one medium each month. And I just have a very, very good feeling about this challenge. And I know we are gonna tap into our intuition like crazy. So if you want to join, the link is in the show notes, and I would love to have you. The next thing that I want to talk about, number 5, is to raise your vibration. And this will happen once you start letting go of all the baggage that you have had your whole life, your limiting beliefs. And it can also happen through gratitude, through doing the things that bring you joy, through opening your heart, through putting yourself in scenarios and in environments that actually light you up. Because the more you raise your vibration, the more you're going to be able to attract the opportunities, the people, the things that are actually meant for you. The more we open up, the more we raise. If for example, if we want our dream job and it's at like a really high vibration and we're down here and we're stuck in like, oh, it's never gonna happen, and we're so angry, we feel a lot of shame, releasing those emotions, those negative emotions, and being more in love and gratitude is gonna elevate us, and it's going to help us to get to the things that we really want. And this is not like, oh, be in love and light and everything is beautiful all the time. No, that is not true. We need to feel the heavy shit. We need to be okay with our shadows and those heavy things as well. But it's that thing of like being in it, transmuting it, and alchemizing it into light and using that as like fuel and using it as like, okay, I have so much anger in me, okay, I get to dance it out and I get to feel all the energy, but also like let it go, move it out of your body. And why is those negative, it's not even negative, those heavier vibrating emotions present for you? Like, why are they there? Start looking at that instead of just shaming yourself for being angry. Like, why are you angry? Why are you angry? Why do you feel shame around your spirituality? Oh, that was my ear itching. That's my intuition. Yeah, I feel apparently shame around my spirituality. Okay. Um, anywho. Why do you feel the things that you feel? Because it's not just there, like, just because, there's a reason for everything. So, yes, raise your vibration and you will start to invite in the things that you truly want. And the next and last thing that I want to talk about is to release attachment to outcome and surrender to the process. I talked about this already, but it's just so important to remind ourselves of, and for me to remind myself of, because it's a practice. And sometimes we want something so much that we can feel like, oh my God, I need to have it right now. And I felt that in my business. Now, like, I took 6 months off from my part-time job and I was just focusing on my business for 6 months, and I put so much pressure that I had to become the most successful coach and have so many clients and have a fully booked out course within the 6 months. And I put so much pressure on myself that it wasn't even fun anymore. And there was just like heavy energy around my course. And like, I felt like I had to just like push out a baby in 20 minutes when it should have probably taken me, 9 months to grow and to maybe, like, I don't know, like 7 hours to push out. What a metaphor. But not having that like iron grip on like, this needs to happen this at that time on my timeline. If it doesn't, I'm not good enough. I am a bad coach, whatever. Like, we stick so many beliefs around why it doesn't happen within a certain time. So letting go of the how and the when, like, we don't know how it's going to happen. I know that I am meant to be a coach. I know that I am meant to live by or through my coaching business, and that I'm meant to travel around the world and live my dreams and desires and have a lot of wealth and abundance in my life, and really just live in that freedom. But I don't know how yet. I will only know how when that how actually happens. And I don't know when. I don't know when I will be able to be a full time coach. I know it's happening. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's happening. And it's already happening. I'm in the process of it. But I don't know when. I don't know exactly the date. And that wouldn't be fun, anyways, because then you would just like sit there and wait until that date happened. But it's the fact that we get to enjoy the process, that we get to learn by doing, learning by doing. My dad always said that. And I've started to understand it more and more. Like, we get to figure our shit out on the way and we get to enjoy every single moment of it. And having a support system, having people around you that just feel nourishing and is there for you and light you up and cheer you on, and you working on 100% believing in yourself is going to get you there. And doing all these things that I talked about, and there are probably more things. And if you have any more things, I would love to hear about it. But having, like I said, having that support system is gonna propel you further. And I know for me, when I had my mentor, I looked at things that I had never looked at before. And it was so good to feel like someone actually saw me. Someone actually took the time to get to know me and to figure me out and to actually like just be with me in the process, because like I said, it can get very lonely. And if you are on a path and you are trying to figure out where you're headed, and maybe like you know your purpose or maybe don't know your purpose, you're not really clear of your north star, where you're heading, but been doing a little work and you're curious to go even deeper, I want to invite you into my one-on-one coaching container. I am focusing on this a lot this year. And for me, I just want to be there to be able to hold space for you and your growth. I want to be able to shine light on the things on your subconscious that you might have never seen before. I want to ask you the right questions and really help you get to know you. Because once we start seeing our patterns and once we start seeing who we actually are, things will make so much more sense. So, if you are interested in working with me, or if you're just curious and you're not really sure, definitely sign up for a free discovery call and we can just chat. We can get to know each other. We can see how I can be best of service. And it's totally free without any attachments to it. You don't have to continue working with me if you don't feel aligned. But if there's something within you that really resonated with this episode, if you feel like, wow, okay, there's something here, and there's something within me that needs to be explored in a safe environment where all of you is allowed and welcomed and nothing is shameful. Definitely get in touch with me. I would love to be there and support you on your journey. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I'm so grateful to have you here, and it just feels so nourishing to be able to talk to you in this way and to share the things that I have learned and that I am just solidifying more and more. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe to the podcast. I also have this on YouTube, so if you want to continue watching this on YouTube, I will leave all the links down below. Go follow me on my Instagram, which is authentically_MEMM, and on TikTok. And you can also join the challenge that I'm doing, which is so much fun. And we're starting in February. Yeah, I think that was it. I hope you have a marvelous week. I'm sending you so much love, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Mwah!